here is a piece from the New York Times, our favorite people from Knucklehead Road. Do we have the Knucklehead Road song? So I saw this article. It came out 2 weeks ago or something, and I kept seeing it around, and the headline was so stupid that I thought it wasn't going to be worth reading except to make fun of. But when I read it, it actually is not a stupid article all the way through. It's really a sad article. It's by a guy named Tim Kreider, who's a teacher. And it's the headline is, "Go ahead, millennials, destroy us." Okay? Go ahead, millennials, destroy us. And he says he's an aging Gen Xer. But listen to what he says, because it's not what you think it is. It's not at first what you think it is. He says, "Like most people in middle age, I regard young people with suspicion. The young and the young at mind tend to be uncompromising absolutists." And that is exactly right. Why? Because they don't know anything. When you don't know anything, you have to make extrapolations, generalizations from a very small piece of information. You talk to a baby and the baby sees a dog. Baby thinks the dog might be a person. How does he know? Every living thing he's seen talks and interacts with him, but the dog doesn't. He has to learn things before he stops making gigantic generalizations. So the guy says the young and the young at mind tend to be uncompromising absolutists. He goes on, "I am creeped out by the increasing dogmatism and intolerance of millennials on the left. I felt a generational divide open up under me last year when everyone under 40 seemed to agree that Dana Schutz's painting of Emmett Till in his coffin should be removed from the Whitney. When I was young, it seemed the natural order of things that conservatives were the prudes and scolds who wanted books banned and exhibitions closed, while we liberals got to be the gadflies and iconoclasts. I know that whenever you disapprove of young people, you're in the wrong because you're going to die and they'll get to write history, but I just can't help noticing that the liberal side isn't much fun to be on anymore." And that's what I'm talking about. Crowder is still funny because Crowder can say whatever he wants and think whatever he wants. He doesn't have to worry about insulting blacks, except on Twitter and YouTube, because that's where they'll ban you for being funny, for being free, That's what they ban you for. They ban you for being free. Okay, so he talks about the left has become puritanical, censorious, grim, humorless, and they shut down speech. I guess that's saying it twice, censorious. They shut down speech, and young people exemplify this. So that's where he starts, all right? And then he says, "Yet this uprising of the young against the ossified monolithic power of the National Rifle Association has reminded me that the flaws of youth, its ignorance, naivete, and passionate Manichaean idealism are also its strengths. Young people have only just learned that the world is an unfair hierarchy of cruelty and greed, and it still shocks and outrages them. They don't understand how vast and intractable the forces that have shaped this world really are, and still think they can change it. Revolutions have always been driven by the young. This is also true, and revolutions have always ended with bloodshed, despair, and slavery. Only one revolution has worked, a revolution of Englishmen against Englishmen. It was actually a civil war, and that's the American Revolution. That's the only one that has improved the lives of the people who revolted." So this is his final word. "My message as an aging Gen Xer to millennials and those coming after them is, go get us. Take us down. All those cringing provincials who still think climate change is a hoax, that being transgender is a fad, or that socialism means purges and re-education camps, just because it does. Rid the world of all our outmoded opinions, vestigial prejudices and rotten institutions, gender roles as disfiguring as foot binding, the moribund and vampiric two-party system, the savage theology of capitalism. Rip it all to the ground. I, for one, can't wait till we're gone. I just wish I could live to see the world without us." In other words, he is giving up on adulthood. He is giving up on the Western story. He is giving up on a freedom because he has forgotten what it's for. He has forgotten eudaimonia. He has forgotten life in abundance. He has forgotten joy that only comes through virtue, that only can be found when you are free. He has forgotten what the West is about. And so he's saying, tear it down, tear it down. What does he think will rise up in its stead? What does he think will replace it. They've lost the plot, and so they're calling on the children to destroy them. It's an amazing thing. And by the way, I saw this once before. I lived through the 60s. I saw the children rise up. I saw the adults cede their authority. I saw them say, oh, I saw them bought off by sex. I saw them say, oh, a world in which we can have sex with anyone we want. Good, great, tear down Western civilization. I saw them allow young people to take over the places in college. At least there were college students. At least they'd learned something in life instead of these tots, but it was still the same thing. It was all these kids who did not understand what the West was about. And so they were happy to tear it down. Hey ho, Western Civ has got to go. That's what they used to chant. And the adults gave ground. We should tell these kids to go back to school, sit down, do their homework, and shut up.